Hi, everyone.
Hi. Hi, Linda.
So we have our wonderful Mel here. Him and I switch off every other Monday. So today's my Monday, and then next Monday I'll be in his
It's tea with Linda and Mel, or should I say ginger ale?
ginger ale. Oh, I forgot to get something, but I'm hustling a little bit.
I still couldn't do curlers. I don't have enough hair. I went out looking for bozo wigs, and the Halloween stuff's
How
not
about those
out
little
yet.
tiny pin curlers?
Oh, there you go. I said, could you see me saying to my husband, would you pin curl my hair?
You
He's
can
like,
get little things that have fake curlers on it that you tie, but it's fake curlers. So,
Greenland.
okay. All right. So Carol wants to know, there are so many negative opinions and comments directed at VP Harris. How is she doing and how can we help? That's a good one, Carol. Thank you.
A very good one. Well, intuitively, I feel like Kamala Harris can hold her own. All right. I mean, I watched her in those Senate hearings, and as an attorney, she's tough.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's got to be a hard job when, people are criticizing you from every angle. But I think part of a leader is to be able to deal with that and not get hung up on the negativity and remain positive. And
Right.
Kamala's got this way to remain positive. So I think the way we can help her is everybody just send her positive energy so she can keep up her
Right.
momentum being positive.
And she's a woman. She's a woman of color. You saw what happened to Hillary. They just were vengeful.
Right. Well, I think Kamala Harris would be like something like we say in the South at some point when people make her mad enough, she would just say, well, bless your heart, which means go screw yourself.
Right.
I'm not worried about Kamala. She's holding her own, and I see her continuing to hold her own.
Good, good.
She's formidable. She might seem nice and easygoing, and she probably is, but don't mess with her. That's
right.
a no.
And this whole Biden thing with this Afghanistan, oh, his numbers dropped. Yeah, his numbers drop, and they'll go back up.
The numbers dropping doesn't mean anything because we're a year out from the midterms. My response to this is, wait a minute. All Biden is doing is carrying out what Trump negotiated. I mean, Biden didn't negotiate this withdrawal from Afghanistan. Trump's the one that got us in this mess.
Well, Pompeo and Trump also released those prisoners.
Right.
And they made a deal with them.
Exactly. They made a deal.
Like everybody says, wait for it. The Trump hotels will be coming up in Afghanistan.
Well, it's going to come out the deal Trump made. And also, I saw money changing hands. So I don't know if it went right to Trump, but I'm sure through channels, there was money that changed hands for Trump to do this, and that. Trump doesn't do anything to be altruistic. It's always to grease his own pockets.
And also, they get a lot of money after the Taliban. They get a lot of money from heroin and stuff. But they also got a lot of money from China and Russia.
They certainly did. But I think Trump got his, I don't think my guides show me he got his palms greased.
Okay.
I love the technical glitches.
Yeah.
I have a joke.
Will Stephen Miller or any Trump official, this is from Barbara, be charged with human rights violation for separating the children from the immigrant parents at the border?
I don't know if they're going to be charged. I don't feel human rights violations. I do see investigations. And, if he lies about what happened, then he'll get in trouble for obstruction of justice. Now, right. Morally, do I think they should be charged with human rights violations? Absolutely.
Stephen Miller, too. Stephen Miller is the one that shut down the abilities for even the Afghans to get cleared to come.
Right.
He's the one that slowed it down. So they said it was at a snail's pace, because if they had left it alone, a lot of these Afghans who were interpreters would have already been cleared and gone.
Exactly. And that's sad because they gave their time and energy to help this country. And then how can we turn our back on them? I just think that's a travesty.
Well, what I've always seen is other countries that are suing us, families of other countries suing us for what we did, taking their children.
And you know what? They're going to win they're going to win a lot of those
Yeah,
lawsuits.
I don't know if it's actually started, but years ago, my guide said that these children, the family of the children are going to sue them.
I, you know, I, I don't know if they'll bring it through the United Nations, how they'll do it, because they don't know that much about international lawsuits. But you're right. And I also predict that, not to get off topic, but that in those states like Alabama, Florida, and Texas, that parents of kids who have COVID, the kids have COVID or are sick from COVID, I think they're going to sue those states where they live because they wouldn't enforce a mask mandate. And so, and they'll win as well.
Yeah.
So I see lawsuits being filed against Abbott, against DeSatan, and a lot of those governors that wouldn't enforce a mask mandate, and the people will win. So
Well, I know. I don't know why they think they're all that in a cup of tea. I don't get it. We're going to force, and there are a few people that, yeah, but there's more people that want to live.
exactly. So anyway,
So will the Delta variant, this is from Pioneer Girl, will the Delta variant come under better control with the booster shot? And will we see numbers of infections and deaths start to fall?
I'm
Hopefully
not worried
dramatically.
I'm not worried about the Delta variant for the vaccinated. I'm worried about the Delta variant for the unvaccinated.
Right.
There are some breakthrough infections with Delta for those of us who have had vaccines, but you don't get it sick, and you don't go in the hospital, you don't die.
But apparently some people get pretty sick, but those are the ones with autoimmune compromise.
But they're not dying, I mean.
Well, there are some people that died.
It might be that many, but not like, if you look at how many people are vaccinated. But the thing that fuels this virus, and the virus can't mutate if people are immune to it. It can't. It only mutates when it can spread. So these anti-vaxxers, they're
causing this. Yeah.
Right. And so, I'm going to get the booster shot.
Me too. I already set my date.
I think it'll help keep it from spreading for those of us who are vaccinated. But for people who refuse to get vaccinated, it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
And this virus is going to mutate again. And it's going to play havoc.
I know.
So,
but it's such a shame because these poor, now this is Mel and my psychic opinion. This is not.
No, this is our psychic opinion.
This is our psychic opinion. And as you guys know, I predicted the virus coming in June of 2019 or June or July. I have a video of me saying, but I just want you to know that it's just so sad for these people who refuse, and families are getting sick. There's a lot of people now that were so anti-vaxxer, radio show hosts and people, and they're dying.
You're right. That's the sad part of it. And I feel sad for the kids. I see within the next couple months, there's going to be a vaccine coming out for the children. And if I had kids, I'd be the first in line to get them vaccinated. Right.
Well, two kids of this woman's sister, they're both anti-vaxxers. Her sister and husband, they're over 12. And they asked if she could sign as their mother so they could get the vaccine. The kids did.
The kids are smart.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But I do, I think it's going to take 8 or 9 months before we get this thing under control. I saw something on TV where there was a guy in the hospital and he'd gotten really sick with COVID. I just saw it. And they asked him if he would think about getting the vaccine, that he's been this sick with COVID. No, nobody can tell me what to put in my body. I'll go through the whole thing again. And I thought, you're telling people what you don't want done to you, but yet you're doing stuff to other people and you're not even thinking.
You're causing the staff to be exposed to you.
That's right.
You're taking up a bed that could go for someone who really needs it.
That's
but
right.
By God, you're not going to tell me what to do.
Exactly.
Some hospitals, if you didn't get the vaccine, wait in line. We'll get you when we have a bed that's free. There's no free beds.
Well, a lot of companies are saying if you don't get vaccinated, if you don't get vaccinated, you don't have a job unless you have a medical reason.
Right. And there's, like you and I've talked about, there are people who really can't get vaccinated.
There are, and those are the people that I'll close my mouth.
They'll give them a special thing. Yeah.
Exactly. So.
But in San Francisco right now, like 50 sheriffs are going to have to be fired. 9 firemen because it's San Francisco, no vax, you don't work for them.
Well, that's right. The anti-vaxxers, you can't tell me what to do. Well, you're right. We can't, but we can set rules for our company. And if you don't want to follow those, too bad.
Yeah, because they've already tried to bring it up to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court said no.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Pfizer vaccine, it had provisional approval, but today it was approved. So the anti-vaxxers really can't say, well, I'm not going to take it because it wasn't approved, because it is.
Right. What about Moderna? Is that coming up real soon too?
I think within the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
Let me see. Let me explain to people. When I say I think, I see, I intuit, it's all psychic. I just do it in conversation.
Right. This is a good one from Cece. What is Biden planning on doing to Texas and Florida? Do you see a Democratic woman governor for Texas? Is Harris County Judge Lena Hidalgo a good candidate? Now, the reason I want to say this, yesterday I did a live and someone asked about Texas, and I swear to God, Mel, I'm looking at Texas and I just saw on MSNBC, they're saying that idiot that's in there now, who's got COVID again,
Right.
that he's probably a shoo-in because of his numbers. I saw a woman stepping in. As clear as day. It wasn't Beto, it was a woman.
I see at some point Beto either being governor of Texas or a senator again, and at some point he will be president. It'll be a long time off. So I see him rising through the ranks. I met Ann Richards once, a former governor of Texas. She was very nice, actually. I didn't get a hit on it, but let me think about it for a second.
Okay.
Well, I do see somebody with longer hair. And so it is female energy. So the answer to that is yes.
Okay. He hurts enough people in Texas, and maybe enough Republicans don't vote, especially midterms, and they'll just say, yeah, let's try this woman.
Exactly. I ultimately see him out of office, and ultimately DeSantis in Florida as well.
Okay, good. I definitely see DeSantis going too.
But here again, there's going to be a lot of lawsuits filed from people who got Delta and from parents of kids who got Delta or died of Delta, because
we're forced to go to school.
That's right. That's right. And so, and those states will have to pay for being negligent. So.
Okay. This is from Sam. Why is Georgia waiting on indicting Trump for interfering and tampering with elections? Seems like they have all the evidence that they need to go to the grand jury.
Well, here again, when God was handing out patience, I stood in the attitude line. And so I hate to say be patient, but they're not going to just throw something together willy-nilly. They're going to make sure they've got their I's dotted, their T's crossed, their commas in place. And I don't think any Republican governor of that state, unless it's some Trumpster, would say stop that investigation. So, I see indictments there.
I do too. And I see Merrick Garland. He's walking, treading carefully because, there's a lot of FBI that are Trumpsters.
Right.
And also that Christopher Wray needs to be really looked at.
Well, I think what's going to happen is Merrick Garland is going to find out in the current FBI that there are Trumpsters there who are leaking stuff back to Trump or the Trump cronies. And for that, they'll lose their jobs.
Are they going to get rid of Chris Wray?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And you know what? I got a funny feeling he's going to be the subject of inquiry.
Chris Wray?
Yes.
Yeah, because he's already done some stuff that.
Right.
He lied about something. I can't remember.
He's going to be in trouble. I don't know if he'll go to jail. I haven't thought about it a lot, but he'll, as I say, he'll be gone.
Yeah. So Janet says, does Biden know all that Trump has done and caused in this current situation, especially in Afghanistan?
Here's what my guides just showed me. This big bags of flour. Okay. And that would represent all the damage that Trump has done. And there's Biden just trying to sift through it.
Oh, I tell you.
which one to sift through next.
Because I tell you, I know at night I heard him say to his wife, I don't know about taking this job. I don't know if I should, because it's like he's just overwhelmed.
It was one big cluster, you know what?
Yeah.
And I'm sure he's probably.
And I even feel he's been a little short-tempered lately, and he doesn't, he's actually a very nice guy, but he doesn't he likes people to step up to the plate. He's squirt.
I think he should be short-tempered.
Yeah.
I heard him say, what president was it that said the buck stops here? Or was it Roosevelt? I forget which one it was. But with the whole Afghan thing,
Yeah.
he didn't spend time blaming Trump. He talked about it a little bit, but he said, but the buck stops here.
Yeah.
And so I admired him for that.
So I'm not worried about his numbers dropping. I see them going right back up.
I'm not either. The only way.
And by the way, the stock market's gone up, especially with this Pfizer news. Boom, boom, it's still going up.
Right. The only way that he would drop in popularity would be if the economy got really bad or something like that. But I see the economy really growing. So that's going to help. That's going to help.
Right, right. And let me tell you something, Mel, I don't know what you feel. I don't care how many restrictions they put on voting. I always had the vision of ants, like the Democrats are ants, and we just get in there and we will vote, vote, vote. We will make through all the restrictions and we're going to do it. You need a driver's license. You need this. Fair enough. We got it.
I see it like a team of Roman soldiers just marching forward, and some might fall, but they're not going to stop the march. I love the ant analogy, by the way.
Yeah,
So,
that's what they showed me, my guides. Like billions of ants going through.
It's modern day Jim Crow, but sooner or later, if it goes to the Supreme Court, I still think the Supreme Court, as conservative or crazy as some of them are going to say you cannot restrict people's rights to vote.
Well, they also are going to, they did okay some of the voting stuff that happened, some of the restrictions. But here's the bottom line. When these idiots think that they're going to say, no, we don't like who people voted for, we choose this person. That goes to the Supreme Court and they're going to say you have to go for what the public voted for.
That won't work. You cannot overturn the will of the people unless you're a banana republic dictator.
Okay. So Dan wants to know what's going to happen to those Sniffy Jr., Lauren Boebert, who have praised the Taliban lately. She needs to go live with them and then tell us how much she likes them.
Yeah, put on the whole the burqa and all that stuff and see how you like it. And when you get beat because you wore sandals, then we'll talk. I think people hang on to stuff that's happening and it's just trendy. And sooner or later, the worst thing that'll happen to her is she'll be long forgotten.
Yeah, I has been.
Just like Marjorie Taylor Greene, she'll go down in the history books as a kook. Matt Gaetz is going to go to jail. But you know what? They're going to go down in the history books as being BS crazy, but as kooks.
Right.
I wouldn't want to be on that side of history.
So I don't know how to pronounce this. Peony, Peony, and roses.
Peony is a flower.
Peony and roses. She says she has a lifelong passion for the certain things like Victorian homes, everything about the Victorian era. Does that mean I have a past life?
I love the old Victorian houses. I think they're cool. I do think she's had a couple past lives in the Victorian era because it lasted a long time. One, she died as a child of some kind of upper respiratory thing. And the other, she died like probably as a guy in his 40s. Oh, no, I'm sorry. She died as a guy in his 40s due to consumption, which was really tuberculosis.
Right. Right.
The other life could have been scarlet fever when she died young. That's what I think.
Right, right.
So yeah, she's had two past lives in Victorian age.
But she's got a love for it. So Joanne said, so many people dream about being back in school. Are they merely anxiety dreams or are they busy learning at night on the other side? I dream about being back in the childhood home all the time.
I dream about being in school. I think we learn in our sleep, of course, but I think it's more like they're just hooked into what I call the odic force. It's that force that surrounds us all. And I think they're just having a premonition of futuristically people being back in school and being well. I think it's a premonition.
Okay. So somebody wants to know, Angala, what happened to the family who went hiking in Yosemite and mysteriously died? Husband, wife, 1-year-old child, and dog found dead on the hiking trail. What happened?
I don't think that that was foul play. I'm not
You
picking
don't?
that. I hear dehydration or something. I really hadn't thought about it. Normally, I don't take a police case unless I'm called in by the family or the police. And I used to do a lot of forensics work. I haven't really looked at it enough to give a psychic impression. But the first thing is, they could have gotten lost, and then I'm looking around psychically, and I can't find out where I'm at. But I'm not feeling foul play. I could be wrong on that, but I'm just not intuiting that. What did
Okay.
I don't know what they said about it. I haven't heard much.
Well, they did an autopsy. Okay. And then let me read it to you. More questions now. An initial autopsy has revealed few clues to the mystery of what happened to this family. John Garish, Ellen Chung, and their 1-year-old daughter, Miju, as well as their family dog, were found dead at Devil's Gulch area in the South Fork. The Mariposa County coroner was only able to rule out acute trauma such as stabbing, gunshot wounds, or blunt force. Toxicology results are expected in 2 to 3 weeks. A necropsy, an autopsy is also being done on the dog. Investigators say the deaths do not appear intentional. They did not find a suicide note or any signs indicating premeditation.
Right. I wonder how long they were missing when they were found, because it could have been dehydration or something. I don't know.
But even the dog right near them, if somebody died, somebody would seem like they'd go to get help, or even the dog would wander off. It's just interesting they all die at the same time.
Unless they drank something in there or ate something. I'm just
Well, I'm wondering if it was suicide murder.
That could be. You know what? I'll think about it, and can we talk about it on another?
Sure. I'm thinking it's the male, and I think he had made a decision. But I could be wrong. So this is just my interpretation. But when they were saying they haven't found anything and they're waiting for the toxicology, I could feel the man saying he was responsible, or something happened that he should have been aware of, because it feels like he's telling me it was like his fault.
Right. Okay.
But since they all went all together like that, that was amazing.
That's strange. You know what? If we can talk about it on another show,
Sure.
I would love that, because let me have time to. I got on those things. I just have to sit down, get meditative, and just start.
And then you'll get your answer.
Exactly.
Sure, we can do it on your show next week.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so Anita says, well, more doctors and nurses say that they will not treat unvaccinated people unless everyone gets vaccinated.
Unfortunately, no. Fortunately, no. Because they take the Hippocratic Oath, and they could think to themselves, you didn't get vaccinated, why do I have to treat you? They can think it, but they're going to treat anybody. They're going to treat people who are in need, because a person who's sick is a person who's sick. And
right.
But I do think they're going to start standing up to a lot of the conspiracy theories and a lot of the abuse they have to take from the anti-vaxxers, that they'll stand up to.
Right, exactly.
But I do think you're right, Linda. Insurance companies are going to start saying,
oh yeah, they're not. If you're a smoker, right, you're not covered.
Right.
If you don't get the vaccine, you're not covered. If you live in an area with fires, earthquakes, you're not covered, or you pay through the roof.
Exactly. That's what's going to happen.
They tripled my insurance for my earthquake insurance. When
sure.
I got the bottom of my house secured to the foundation, it dropped in half.
I'm sure. Here, it's like, act of God, but you got to make sure that you're covered for tornadoes and stuff like that, because we do have tornadoes. That's why houses here have.
Hey, did that hurricane cause any side effect with you guys, or?
Not much, no.
That's sad. We got to put out well wishes. Anybody affected by the hurricane, especially to Tennessee.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it was like.
They said, they woke up, it had been raining. Nobody expected this. It just took them by surprise.
It's all climate change.
Yeah. Somebody just wrote me, rang on a river and said, Linda G, are you the only one in your family with the gift, or do others have it? Just curious, because I've always heard it runs in families. Now, I asked my mother was extremely psychic, but you couldn't tell her that. She saw dead people, okay? She was always frightened. She never wanted to stay. If dad was in the hospital, I always had to take her or stay at the house because she would see things. One time she saw a woman with dark hair and a robe. She thought it was me in my brother's room. She's thinking, what is Linda doing in Mark's room? And then this energy form comes out of the room and turns like that and goes into our room, me and my sisters. And she's looking, she realized, wait a second, that's not Linda. Linda doesn't have that color bathrobe. She grabbed the 22 next to her. She goes into our room, scared to death, as you can imagine. And she went in our room and there was nothing there.
I'm laughing because the 22, it's like, okay, what are you gonna do?
Hey, listen, we were trained to use guns and how to
Oh,
use
too.
guns.
From the
My
time-
dad never locked up a gun, which is probably, but by the grace of God, nobody got hurt. But
No.
we had to know how to use a gun. So
all of us, my sister and I too.
yeah,
We
so
grew up in
dad,
the-
so my mom was always afraid. So mom was psychic. And I used to ask about family. I have a grandmother who died when she was 12. Her name was Cecilia. She was Comanche. She could speak Comanche. She was Mexican. Her father was a Spanish Mexican, and she could speak English. And she died at age 38, I think, giving birth to her 7th child.
Oh, wow.
And I would ask my family, was she psychic? Nobody said no. Come to find out, one of the cousins who actually met her, she said, she even got a hug from her. I was so envious of her. She said, Linda, she used to sit in the room and have tea with my grandmother, who was my grandfather's sister, and she would read her.
Wow. My father was very intuitive. He would have dreams that come true. He didn't do readings. I do think it runs in families.
I do too.
My grandfather from Germany would hold a stick, a forked stick, and they would pay him to find water, and he was accurate about it too.
Wow, that's great.
I think your cousin Regina has a lot of intuitive ability.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. All my cousins, they're all psychic.
Don't Sue, I didn't mean to leave Sue out of that either. She's got some intuition going on as well.
Oh, listen, how do you feel about these fires? Michelle just said there are 10,000 firefighters in California working on active fires as of today. Will this nonstop destruction continue into October, November? And yesterday, someone sort of asked me that. They were asking, is that fire going to hit Lake Tahoe? And I hate to say it, I heard yes.
I'm seeing it's going to hit Lake Tahoe. I don't know how much damage it'll do, but this is not the end of it. We're going to see at least 3 or 4 huge, more raging fires.
Right.
And I really applaud the firefighters who are there putting their lives on the line to try to contain
Well,
these.
thank God we got a lot of money from Biden. So Biden, they're shoring it up.
Biden is going to start to put a lot of money toward climate change. And I still see that the deal going through, the New Deal, as you call it, Earth,
Right.
Infrastructure. And I see voting rights bills going through.
Thank you.
But, he's going to put money toward, fighting climate change and these fires and everything. I just saw that the Colorado River is drying up.
Yes. Isn't that terrible?
And so.
And there's a show on CBS or called Paramount Plus that I watched. I can't even think of the name about it, but it was so interesting because they talked about how the Spaniards came to Southern California in the 1500s, and Southern California was on fire because the natives who were on the beach set it on fire.
Right.
And they turned around and left. Then they came back in the 1700s, and then that's when they said no more fires. Well, what happened is if you don't do fires, your own fires, to clear the land, that's what's caused these Armageddon, not only climate change,
Exactly.
and the big lumber people. There's a guy that owns more California land than anybody else. I can't think of his name, but they cut down lumber and they put those new trees up.
Right.
Those are the kindling. That's the kindling. And
Oh,
all that stuff on the ground, that's what starts fires.
Because a lot of those trees are like pine trees are in that family and they have a lot of turpentine. So they go up
Yeah.
like that. But I just thought of something funny when you were talking. You said that the natives would light fires to keep whoever out. Wonder if they could, wonder if maybe these fires are going on to get rid of, to chase off some of the Trump lieutenant, do you think?
It could be. It could be.
Anyway,
Hey, Martha said, how will the Taliban be affected by the Delta variant? Are they getting injections or?
I'm sure that a lot of the Taliban leaders will get injections, but what I'm worried about is in Afghanistan, they're not going to have the vaccines available, and a lot of people are unfortunately going to die of the Delta variant. And I think because of that, a lot of people who have fled and this and that, I see a counter-revolution happening. And a lot of those people who had to flee, and a lot of the people who are going to speak up about the treatment of women and lack of health care. At some point, I see the Taliban overturned by the warlords in the north. They're going to band together.
Yeah, I saw underground stuff taking place and them getting wiped out.
It started already, by the way.
Oh, good, good. I don't know if it's a better group that's coming in. I can just see. Just division. Too many people thinking they want to be king for a day.
I can just see that they think the civil war is over in that country, but it's not. It's clearly not.
Right. Hey, Terry wants to know, do you think Val Demings will win against Marco Rubio? Will she take his seat?
I pray.
I heard yes.
I hear a yes too, provided that Florida counts the votes correctly.
Right.
I'm going to say yes. I feel like a yes.
They say she's 2%. No, they said they're neck to neck, but I think she's actually more ahead than that.
She really needs to go campaign hard.
Yeah. Well, she campaigns on my email 24/7. Linda, I need more money.
Oh, I get that.
Tina of Mexico said there's talk of a raise in Social Security. Do you see that coming? Yeah, in January they're going to give I think it's 6%.
Wow. Yes, it will happen. I see it happening too. Hi, Tina. Well, did you say Mexico?
Tina, Mexico. She's in Mexico and California.
Hi, Mexico. Hi, Tina.
Okay. A lot of people asking about COVID.
Well, people, I think with COVID, we got out of the one crisis with I think the Alpha variant, and now, we're back again. But here again, at the risk of being redundant, it's the anti-vaxxers that are fueling this.
I know, it's so sad. It's just really sad.
It's very sad. It's very, very sad. So the safest thing to do is get your vaccine, provided that you medically can.
Kathy asked, do the spirit energies of people who have died from this terrible disease form an alliance of some sort as part of their life journey? And if so, what is the primary purpose of the alliance?
I don't know if it's an alliance, but I think that, they can become guides and helpers on the other side to give you and I the information to tell people to get vaccinated.
Right, exactly.
That's how I see it.
Will there be anything other than for children, another stimulus happening? Jules asked that question.
I see another stimulus.
You've been saying that. You've been saying that. I felt more towards the end of the year. There's some.
Yeah, I see another stimulus.
And here in California, we're getting a $600 check from Gavin Newsom.
And I can tell you something, right before the midterms, right around September or October, probably October of next year, right before the midterms, I see another big, some kind of stimulus or some kind of helping package coming through.
Well, Kamala is talking about a $2,000 package.
Right.
And you know what? I've always said this, these Democrats are so smart. Biden said, vote for me. I'll work on the virus and you'll get a check for $1,200. And right. Gavin Newsom is saying, vote for me. I think he's going to be okay. I could be wrong, but I think he'll vote for me and I'll give you a $600 check. And I think at the midterms, they're going to say, that's the ants coming through. I want my money.
That's what's going to happen. And, they'll do it because it's strategic. I get the politics of it. But I do see another stimulus coming. But then again, another one right around 2 or 3 weeks before the midterms.
Okay. Oh, this is a good question from Basha. Where did the Afghan president go and will he be found? And who's bankrolling him?
I think he fled. Didn't he flee to Syria or Saudi Arabia or something?
Was it? I don't know.
I don't see
Saudi
him.
Arabia sounds nice.
I don't see him being sent back to Afghanistan.
Yeah.
I do see, obviously he's in exile. I don't know if he's strong enough to lead or put together like a whole revolution. He's not that
I
strong.
even think maybe the Taliban gave him money.
You're probably, you know what? That wouldn't surprise me.
Right.
But I do see somebody in exile who's a very strong leader that's going to rise up and put together a revolution against the Taliban in Afghanistan.
Gina wants to know, what is the future for Adam Kissinger in Illinois? Will he be reelected?
Kinzinger?
Or will he be governor?
He won't be governor.
Okay.
The Democrats are too strong at this point. I do see him reelected.
Okay.
And I even think a lot
He's
of
Republican, right?
Yes, he's a Republican.
But he speaks out against.
But he speaks out against, I even think some Democrats will vote for him.
Okay.
I don't agree with his politics,
Mhm.
but I do agree with him speaking up and out and having the chutzpah, the inner strength to stand up against Trump and the big lie.
Okay. Sophia wants to know, will lawsuits in Florida result in mask mandates being put in place in school?
The answer is yes.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Oh, this is a good one. Alive said, hi, Linda and Mel. My question, was the Afghanistan military paid to give up an abandoned post?
I'm sure they were paid. I'm sure they got money from the Taliban.
Yeah.
You'd even address that.
Yeah, well, this was all pre-planned,
Absolutely.
Trump
And
let all those people out.
Like I said earlier, I'm sure that Trump and some of his cronies through channels got money under the table for striking the deal with the Taliban.
Okay. 123 asked Jazane Maxwell, why was she denied bail? Is she guilty? Will she be convicted? I didn't know she was denied.
Oh, she was denied bail because they had such a hard time finding her to arrest her. And so they viewed her as a flight risk. I'm sure that they took her passport immediately.
All her passports.
I do see a conviction. I do.
Ew. Okay.
I don't know how many counts they're going to go after her on.
Is she gonna release names, or is she?
Well, they're going to use her to try to flip as well. So what they'll do is they'll say, if you cooperate with us, we'll drop this charge, and this charge.
Okay.
And so
They haven't done that already?
I'm sure they're striking a deal.
Okay.
But she will at some point cooperate. And yes, absolutely, she will release names.
Okay. Leo wants to know, will Meghan and Harry's production company, oh, you know what I just got? Let me just say, she's got a lot of money in a lot of places and the government wants to forfeit on her and get that money.
That's right.
I hate to say it, but I just saw that. Like if we can get her for some transaction or some international thing that she did, we can forfeit on her money and keep it.
And they will.
And they will too. Okay, so will Meghan and Harry's production company, Archwell, be successful?
I think they might. They're going to have to get other marketers in there and other investors for it to be successful.
Okay.
It feels like it's teetering, but if they get other investors and other people to help market it and some big names behind them, then the answer is absolutely yes. But it'll take a while.
So Giga said, I asked Mel if JP Pritzker will win re-election. I don't think he's answered that question yet.
Oh,
I
JP
don't even
Pritzker,
know who that is.
he's the governor of Illinois.
Oh,
I don't even know if JB's going to run again. If he runs again, yes, he will win the election.
okay.
If he runs again. But I think that JB is kind of using Illinois as a stepping stone at some point to try to get a run for presidency.
Okay.
I don't like some of his policies, but
Is he Democrat?
yes, he's a Democrat. He's the Pritzker family. They're a very, very wealthy family here.
Oh,
And,
okay.
But I have to say, I like him.
Right, right. I
Um,
know nothing about him.
If he runs again, he will win.
Okay. So Tammy wants to know, we did tap on the fires. Can you get kind of a thing in your head about when this will finally settle down?
October,
California.
beginning of November.
Oh, okay, that's good. Because usually every time I've been evacuated here, it's because of fires in October.
Yeah, I'm seeing it. Well, October is going to be bad, but then more around beginning of November,
Okay, probably we start getting rain.
9th or 10th or something. And I do see a lot of rain coming out there. So that
So
hopefully.
did I. It's so funny you said that. I know we're in a terrible spot with the drought, but I saw rain coming.
And
You
it's
know,
gonna-
you think it's getting flooded out there. I see floods out here too.
I was just going to say that I see torrential rains coming and floods, flash floods, and a lot of floods coming out there.
Okay.
So
Okay. So Teresa said, America is going through a major mental health crisis right now.
yes,
More and more mentally ill are coming out of the woodwork, often threatening violence. Will the mentally ill ever get proper help? You know, Reagan is the one that caused that chaos.
oh, absolutely.
My uncle is a paranoid schizophrenic living quite nicely at Napa State Institution. When he said y'all can go get out of there and go on the streets, that's what my uncle did. And he ended up being on the streets crazy.
I have, I used to be a social worker in geriatrics, but I worked in mental health as well.
Mhm.
But I have been an advocate and a proponent of mental health in this country for years. I think that somebody's going to put a bug on Biden's ear to start really thinking about programs to help people with mental illness in
Good.
residential facilities to get, to help. A lot of the homeless are mentally ill. And
Right.
so I do see a lot of money being put into treating mental illness, predicting it, how to treat it, and, and people that have it, provisions in place to help them. So I
Right.
do.
I mean, these wealthy people are really tired of the homeless. Well, you know what? Start getting people some mental health.
I learned a very valuable lesson. I was with my cousin Lisa once. She lived downtown. She lived in the city. When we say downtown in Chicago, well, we live in suburbs, but anyway, I was with her and there was this lady and she was selling these. A lot of people sell these newspapers. The homeless sell newspapers here. And so, the lady asked if I wanted a newspaper and I said no. And I walked in the store with my cousin Lisa and she goes, that lady, she has had diabetes and they had to amputate her legs. And she had nowhere to go. She became homeless and they sell those newspapers and they get a little commission on what they sell. And all of a sudden something came in my head, Mel, that was a lesson in you being judgmental. Step out of the judgment, step out of the ego. I went outside and I told her, I said, I am so sorry. And I hugged her and she hugged me. And my cousin Lisa and I bought everyone her
There
newspapers.
you go. There you go.
She
Oh,
was
I
out.
would have just given her the money and say, keep the newspapers.
Well, she was out there, rain or shine.
Yeah. Poor
and,
baby.
But at that moment, I was convinced she was an angel sent there to teach me a lesson.
Teach you a lesson.
Get out of my ego. And I always remember the story when I get into ego.
Yeah, yeah. Well, my friend, unfortunately, it's time to go.
It has been so wonderful.
It's been so much fun with you.
We
I'm
got a
going
lot
to
of
head over
questions.
to Danny's show now.
Oh,
Huh?
okay. Tell Danny I said hi.
I got to run and get my curlers in.
Gotta put your curlers in. Maybe the three of us can do something in the future.
Yeah, but you got to get the little tiny curlers.
I will find something at Halloween. I promise you.
Okay. All right, my friend.
Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.